Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to our weekly Q&A. Well, it is almost weekly. Next week will happen, but it will be somebody else who is not myself doing it. It will be, someone else from Dice Tower. We'll see who it is on next Monday. Because every other Monday I'm doing At the Table with Tom and Eric, so I'll let someone else do the weekly Q&A. But either way, I'm doing the Q&A this week, so if you have any questions or anything you just want to talk about, go ahead and mention it in the chat, and I'll try to answer as many questions as I want to. That's very, very vague. I don't answer every question, asking multiple times, asking questions that I've answered before, which, of course, if you're new, you don't know, but I'll try to get to some questions. I hope everyone had a fantastic weekend. We had a lot of rain down here in Homestead until yesterday. It cleared up and the rain started going away. It was very wet, which is rare in Florida because it usually dries up pretty quickly, but there was a lot of rain, a tropical storm that just missed us. So, hey, hurricane season's here, but tropical storms never really worry us anyway. They just make you cancel events. So that's what that is. All right. So let's see. How is the video gaming? The video gaming, I play, I haven't played a lot of video games lately. So, over the weekend, I spent most of my time playing board games, but I did play a little bit of Tiny Tina's Wonderlands or whatever. Chief Sokotoa is fine. He sent me a congratulatory note becoming a grandfather. Like, oh, thanks a lot. He's a groom father. Which is when, so it's a term that they use when you have a grandchild in another timeline. Which is an interesting thing that can happen, and or a different dimension. He's done that 64.3 times. So, but still, it was nice to hear from him. Let's see here. Are you still planning on uploading the stat spreadsheet from last week? Probably. I don't see why not, but I'm sure Chris wants to make it look a little nice before we do that. I keep getting a commercial for an expensive robot vacuum cleaner with every Dice Tower video now. I think it's the Roomba at the Dice Tower headquarters doing it. Maybe, but I don't think we have him hooked up to the internet, unless we don't know. Are these new glasses? They are. I finally broke down and bought a couple pairs of the, whatever they call. They use the glasses that are both for nearsighted and you can see through them like normal. There's a word for that. Which name is it? Bifocal? No, they're not bifocals. No, because bifocals, it's the top is one and the bottom is another. Oh. This is the whole thing is something. I paid extra money to get glasses that don't get dirty as easily, which I think I was I think I got on that one. But then the lady said to me, she's like, "Do you want the ones that turn into sunglasses when you're inside?" And I said, "I'm not a nerd." And she said, "That's what I have." So then I felt bad. But I know that technology's gotten better, but I still remember when I was a kid and I got those for the first time. I got them in college and I walked inside and the sunglass part never went away. I know technology's gotten better. I don't know where I'm going with this long spiel. Otherwise, these are really expensive. They're really, really expensive. Progressive, that's what they're called. Yes, progressive lenses. Anyway, I got two of them. If I understand correctly, the numbers allowed for Dice Tower East is a bunch smaller than Dice Tower West. Is that because of gaming space? Well, yeah, sure. Also, I plan to keep Dice Tower East a smaller con, while Dice Tower West will probably grow into some large con at the rate we're growing it. Yeah, but it's mostly space. I'm okay with that. It's okay to have different cons in different places. Let's see here. Who will go to Origins? None of us, unfortunately. Origins is happening this week. I hope everyone going has a fantastic and terrific time. I miss it somehow. I blame you. LOL, says Chuck Reed. I just found Marvel Battle World. This seems like a great thing for my grandson, and the reason you've never reviewed it, I found Roy's. Oh, because I hate it. I hate it so very much. I think it's a terrible game. I hate it, hate it, hate it. That's why I never reviewed it, because Roy liked it. So Roy and Mike both like it. I don't know what's happening. I'm assuming that just opening blind booster packs has allured them both with the little chibi marbles, but it's terrible game. Terrible game. But you loving Marvel and having young children, I thought this would be right up your alley. Nope. It ain't up my nothing. I don't like it. I probably should rephrase how I said that. What are you looking forward to in regards to Dice Diary? Seeing people! Hooray! It's going to be fantastic. Did you watch the Bob's Burger movie? No. I'm never going to go watch a cartoon movie like that in the theater, for one thing. Also, Bob's Burgers, I get why people like it. It just doesn't... I find it okay. Or Top Gun Maverick. Well, I only go watch a few movies, so I just didn't go see Top Gun. I'll see it when it comes out on whatever streaming service it's coming out on. Clank vs. Clank in Space. Clank is simpler, easier to play. Clank in Space has more going on. You want a gamer game? Clank in Space. You want a light, easier game? Clank. When I first played Clank in Space, I liked it better, but as time goes by, I think I prefer the simplicity of Clank. Would you ever consider doing an unofficial unmatched set for the Dice Tower during your Kickstarter, similar to what Brothers Mirth did? Maybe, but they work with Restoration Games, so I think they have a kind of an in there. Maybe we would do something like that, but I haven't really thought much about it. Oh, hang on. I apologize for interrupting this. I got a picture of my grandson, and that trumps anything. You can look at that. Oh, you can't see it very much, but I'm sorry. I will interrupt all my Q&As for that. Okay. What board game you played this weekend went over the best? Well, I don't want to spoil it, so I'll be reviewing that board game next week. But I'll say I played one board game almost 12 hours over the weekend because I enjoyed it so much. Any chance of a podcast on Dice Tower where we're talking about games that sell well, like Wingspan, so all those people who like to yell about how bad they are get their own corner away from... I don't even understand this question. Why did I put this up here? This makes no sense to me. Favorite new thing you did for Dice Diaries? I don't know that we're doing anything really new for it, other than we got a brand spanking new library that's not been seen there. I mean, it's been seen at the retreat, but it's even better than that library. Every year it gets better. Any feedback on the Kenobi series? I'll review that when it's finished. Do you watch Love, Death, and Robots? I've watched a few episodes of it, but I don't really like... I don't know that I like a series like that where the stuff is so very different. Like, in the first season, some of the episodes were cool, and some of them were terribly... bleh, and I don't want to have to keep going through them all to figure that out. It gets boring after a while. Have you read any of the old Star Wars EU books? I have read many of the Star Wars Expanded Universe books. My favorite is the Thrawn trilogy by a mile. That doesn't hurt that that's the first one I read. Actually, you want to hear something weird? I read that trilogy before I saw the Star Wars movies. But I knew what the Star Wars movies were about, because you can't miss that. It's the zeitgeist of American culture. But I love the Thrawn trilogy a lot. After the Thrawn trilogy, I like The Courtship of Princess Leia. That's a standalone book. I enjoy that one. There's other good ones in there, but they're really all over the place. There's some really terrible ones. There's a series called The Black Fleet. Boring. There's a lot that I didn't like. I liked all the short story books. So you know what, after Thrawn trilogy, after that, Tales of the Bounty Hunters and Tales from Jabba's Palace, I think are my next two. I like both of those a lot. Tales of the Bounty Hunters shows each bounty hunter, gives a story about him. Really like that. And Tales of Jabba's Palace takes a lot of different people in the palace and gives you their story. Are we going to Jurassic World Dominion this week? Is it coming out this week? Jurassic World? I'll look it up now. Jurassic World Dominion. Huh, that is this week. Yeah, I'll take my kids to see that if they want to. All right. Which board game did you have the most number of back-to-back plays? Well, it would be back when I was in college of playing collectible card games. Pick one of those, or Warhammer. I played that back to back to back to back to back to back to back. So it could be one of those. Uncommon mechanism you want to see used more in game? I split, you choose. Congrats, Tom and Melody. How early are you looking to make the new member a Gamer Geek? Toss me a softball for the plate and let me go on my rant on never. I don't care if my grandson ever plays board games. I don't have any plans to do that at all. If he plays board games, fantastic. If he doesn't, it doesn't bother me one whit. Do you find any value in calzones? Pizza's amazing, and calzones have a terrible bread cheese sauce ratio. Also, they stay way too hot, way too long. Yeah, but sometimes they're a nice change of pace. Also, you dip the calzone in sauce, so there's that. When did you finally retire the turquoise stripe on your Apple Watch? I don't know. When I got a new watch, I got a new band for it. I still have the other bands. I just haven't put them on my watch. I guess I could do that. I might do it now just because you said that. Oh, any chance of a teaser for the next Friday thing? Really enjoyed the shipping interview, and I think the negative reviews video is part of it. Yeah, like a video I do on Fridays. I don't know what it would be. Or even if I didn't know, I have some ideas. They're just gonna happen as I do them, rather than me announce them. Like this past Friday, we did the stats in the top 100. I hope you all enjoyed that. I know a lot of people did. What games will be played during the marathon, the 30-hour marathon, which is a week from Thursday? Yes, you'll see some games played during then. Let's see. Not Shadows of the Empire. I actually dislike Shadows of the Empire. I don't like that story. I didn't find it interesting. I know everyone loves that story. It just felt mad to me. I did not care about some made-up villain who somehow retconned and got his way in there and used pheromones. I disliked that whole story. I disliked everything about it. Sorry, I know some people, a lot of people, that's their favorite Star Wars book, but for me, I did not enjoy it at all. Let's see here. Favorite flavors of donuts? My favorite donuts are one of two kinds, but they're always filled with something. So filled with a good jelly, like there's a mango donut, a peach donut, or apricot. I'm sorry, apricot donut, mango donut. To a lesser extent, the more common ones, the strawberry and apple donuts, but just filled with jelly, but like filled with jelly, not like Dunkin' Donuts where they stick in like one spoonful of jelly. Like the whole thing is filled, a big donut, or filled with cream. And I tend to like the sugary creams more, like Dunkin' Donuts, those white and chocolate creams. I like them, but again, their ratio is way off. So I like donuts that are made. So there's 3 kinds of donuts in the world. Well, 4. There's the store-bought donuts, forget them. Okay, but then we have the chain donuts. So that's Dunkin' Donuts, Tim Hortons, Krispy Kreme. They're fine. I'm not gonna, that's a donut you get. They're fine. So I get them. I enjoy them. Then there is the gourmet donuts. So if you go to Orlando, there's Voodoo Donuts there. Here in Miami, we have a place called Mojo Donuts. Okay, these are fine donuts, but they're very, very expensive, and they look really cool, and they taste delicious, but they're just, they're expensive. What I like is a local bakery that makes donuts that don't look like that much. They're like a big lemon donut. Oh yeah, lemon jelly, by the way, is great. A lemon donut, and it's there. It doesn't look fancy, but when you eat it, you're like, this is a donut. Those are the donuts that I like. So, I don't know why I went off so much on donuts. Did you see that Shadowhunters remake Z reviewed? Yeah, was it called Fangs, I think? I wouldn't even touch it because I hate it to cover that much of it. So it's not me. It seems like it's... I keep going in and out of focus, maybe? Or maybe it's just my glasses. Check the book series from a certain point of view. Short stories from all the background and main characters from Star Wars episodes 4 to 6. Okay. What's your best name for a pirate from Forgotten Waters? I don't know. I'd call someone Two Eyes. Two-Eyed Tom. Which would be confusing, because it'd be like, why do you need to explain that? You know, because we have One-Eyed Jack. What's Two-Eyed Tom? Like, because I have 2 eyes. But why do you need to explain that? Then you stab him. All right. Just to ask something you've never been asked before, could you find Angola on a map? Not off the top of my head, but I would get close, but that would be the best I could do. That's true. It is time to change the knickknacks on the shelf. I'll work on doing that tomorrow. Stop asking me questions about Marvel United, people. I know I haven't got it yet. No need to rub it in. I kind of root for the Blue Jays, but very, very mild. I couldn't name one player in the team. So. Tom, are you going to watch the Apple event that starts right after this stream? Probably. We always keep an eye on what's happening with Apple here, especially for news stuff. Tom, I blame you for my Lebanon bologna addiction. I'm not sorry. Lebanon bologna is delicious. Are there any games about delis or butchers? There's a few, but not many. Why aren't the boring unboxings on the unboxing channel? We've talked about moving them there. I don't know. Maybe we will sometime. Surprised to see you finally cooled off in Duel of Ages. Again, cooling off means it's not in my top games anymore. It wasn't my top. It was my #1 game. Now it's out of my top 100. But it doesn't mean I dislike it or anything. There's just a lot of other games that come out. I still like the anachronistic feature of Duel of Ages, so no game has completely replaced it. A Duel of Ages 3 with very streamlined mechanisms would be one of my favorite games ever. I just don't think that's going to happen. Excuse me. Thought about getting or making a your turn baton. Is that, I'm assuming you pass something around the table when it's your turn? That sounds good in theory, but there are a lot of games where you pass something around for a first player marker, and that's already a pain in the neck. You let me know how it turns out, but I bet you everyone's going to be annoyed by it. If we were to use food as an analogy for board games, who at the Dice Tower is the pickiest eater? Z. Most adventurous. Me or Chris, probably. Easiest to please. I don't know on that one. I don't know who would be the easiest to please. Like, who likes the most games? I don't know. Interesting. Have you seen any coverage of the Queen's Platinum Jubilee events here in the UK? No, I did not. I mean, I guess I saw the coverage, but I didn't really watch anymore. But I just thought, cool. And that was about the extent of it. I just didn't see much else. You even dislike Dash Rendar? No, Dash Rendar's fine, I guess. I just didn't like the book. Thoughts on Batman Gotham City Chronicles now that they're redoing the rules? Well, we'll talk about that this week on Crowd Surfing, so come by. Dash is better than Han? Nah. Top tips for meeting new folks to play with. Make a Facebook group, make a meetup group, or find one that's already made and go to one of those. That's what I would do. I know how old you, Z, Mike, and Roy are. How old are Chris, Wendy, and Camille? I think that's up to them to tell you. Not everyone has to tell you their age. I tell people my age because I don't care. But I don't know that I go around spitting out other people's ages. Except Mike. I like to point that out. Any advice for people wanting to change job path, professional reorientation? I've only done it a couple times, so I don't know. I do just, you, I don't know what the tips are. The tips are think about it carefully before you jump into it. I don't know what else I would be able to say. How about a video where you play board games in Board Game Arena with your fans? There might be some issues, but you don't have to do it live. There's a video chatting feature. So we've talked about this, and I just hate doing it. So I just don't want to do something I don't like. Some things I do I don't like. I don't like doing taxes. I don't like doing a lot of different administrative here stuff at Dice Tower. I love playing games with people. I don't particularly like playing games on Board Game Arena, Board Game, Tabletop Simulator, all that. Board Game Arena is better than most. But even then, I just find it to be okay. It's not the people. I just like to play games in person. Have you ever thought about maybe going to a very big outdoor park and having all the fans come where you are gated off and include food, or people just bring their own picnic baskets, eat, and talk? So a Dice Tower picnic. I guess, but you'd have to come all the way down here. Is Pirates Cove in a Dice Tower library? Yes, it is. The day I go to a Dice Tower con, I have a list of games I want to play, mostly games I won't buy or can't buy. Fair enough. Yeah, Donut Man in Southern California. I'm assuming that's fantastic. When you're at a conference retreat, what's better, short games or long games? It depends what you're looking for. So for me, short games are better because I can play with more people. So that's kind of my thing. I want to play with as many different people as possible. So shorter games allow that. Longer games ties me up, and I don't have a problem with that. But for some people, going to a con, playing a long game is that actual experience they're looking for, and that's fantastic. Let's see here. On new perks for members, new emojis, badges, or other benefits. Oh, that's an interesting idea. I'll probably... It took a while for me to do that, so I might get around to adding some more of those at some point. Do you know enough German to order food in German at Essen? I do not. Top 3 cheeses? I don't know. I mean, I like horseradish cheddar, white horseradish cheddar a lot. I like 5 cheese. That's a cheese they have at Publix a lot. And then I would go with baby Swiss, I think. What's an activity that you don't like to do but your friends, family do? Camping. And vice versa. Well, something I like but the rest of my house does not like? I think it might be shopping, which sounds weird considering I have 7 children. But I'll be like, let's all go out to the mall and walk around. Nobody likes doing that. Nobody. I like doing it. No one else likes doing it. My intro to EU was Kyle Catan stuff, or the R.A. Salvatore books. He was always the Drist author. Yeah, but R.A. Salvatore had to deal with the fact that he killed Chewbacca. A lot of people were not happy with that. I know, someone's out there screaming, spoilers. That book came out like 20 years ago. Chewbacca's been dead for 20 years. What does retirement from Dice Tower look like for you? Not even a thought in my brain. Don't have time for that. It appears most of Dice Tower staff is from other cities. What brought Dice Tower to Florida area? Well, for Z and Kenny, they were already here. For me, I happened to move here to get a job, and I just decided to stay here. Have I played any other tabletop role-playing games aside from Dungeons & Dragons? Yeah, I played a game called Heroes Unlimited, and I've also played Pathfinder. I always see lots of comments from fans asking you to go to more cons and know that time and money is a limiting factor. If you do add another trip, would you consider, say, Africa? Oh yeah, I would love to go to Africa. I think it'd be fantastic. There was a couple people who talked to me one time about coming to a convention in Africa, but I never heard back from them. So I don't know if that will ever happen. But yeah, on my word, I would move a lot to make that happen. What are you looking forward to the most at Dice Diaries besides Jack? Well, yeah. So my grandson, obviously, I would like to. Um, but other than that, like I said, just meeting all the meeting people, getting back together in Orlando for a larger convention. We're very nervous about it here because it's our first time running it ourselves, and there's so many things that could go wrong and everything. But I'm also going in with some confidence. I'm going in with some extreme confidence on this library. Wendy works on it so much. I've been working on it. I keep upgrading things to the library. It is a library of wonder. Also, I got a good group of volunteers and people helping out. I'm excited about that. Do you find it hard to be a Christian doing your job? Not particularly. Sometimes things come up, certainly, that will cause crises, or not crisis, I guess was the wrong word, but things that affect my Christian faith, affects what I do. But yeah, that would happen no matter where I worked, I think. When was the last top 10 dungeon crawlers? Time for a new one? Ah, you're right. It probably is getting time for a new one. There's still a pretty big dungeon crawler I have not played. Swords and Sorcery. It's at my house, actually. I need to play that one before I can do it. But I think I will do that at some point. I would like to make that a big top 10, but I don't think people here have played as many dungeon crawlers as I have, for the most part. I don't even know what would be my number one at this point in time, because there'll be a toss-up between 3 different ones right now. Do I have a favorite character to use in Dice Throne? It would either be Doctor Strange or the Gunslinger. Who plays the game the most in the office? I have no idea. Do you sometimes have difficulty separating MCU versus the comic universe? Nah, because the MCU works well and the comic universe is full of holes. What are changes you like the most? Oh, there's so many changes I like that the MCU did. And which do you wish they kept with the comic version? I think I would have kept from the comic version. I think I would have made a little bit more stronger delineation on the Civil War thing. I don't think it was strong enough to see them fight. I think I would have started working the themes for that in the last movie a little bit stronger to bring that into play. Other than that, I want to see the X-Men. Where are my X-Men? Bring me my X-Men. Stop fooling around. Get the X-Men in. Have we discussed Ms. Marvel yet? It's not out yet. Isn't it coming out like in a couple weeks? I think it's very soon. I'm looking forward to it. We'll see.
I think it's Wednesday.
Oh, is this week?
I think.
Ooh. You're right. That is this week. What a good week. This is a good summer for like new stuff coming out. All right. Well, I'll watch it with the kids, and I will tell you when I am done with the whole series. So you just have to wait till then. Have you thought about having Dice Tower expanding in other languages, Spanish, German, Portuguese, etc., having subtitles on YouTube? Well, the subtitles thing is a very, 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 very difficult / expensive thing to do. Someone has to do it to go in there and make them look nice. Then we have to go in there and enable it, which is a bit of a pain. You're like, oh, just do it. It's another thing to do. I would have to have someone permanently working on that. As to having other languages, I'm not going to do that because I think it dilutes the channel. I would be a little annoyed if I went to watch a channel that was in English and then suddenly a video was in German. Having a separate channel might be nice, but I don't know that it needs to be Dice Tower either. I'm not saying it won't ever happen. There are fantastic channels in other languages out there. I just don't know that they need to be Dice Tower affiliated. I recently heard an interview with RA on what he thought when he got the order to kill Chewie. Yeah, well, he got death threats in the mail about that. A lot of people hated him as if it was his decision. That whole storyline, which I would argue that storyline was not particularly well done. So if you haven't heard about the storyline, they basically made up these aliens that were immune to the Force because why not? And stuff immune to the Force works a little bit. Like in the Thrawn trilogy, they had these creatures that did that dampened the Force. That's great. But these whole creatures were there, and they were just kind of like nasty creatures. They didn't feel Star Wars-ish at all. They felt like they were half Stranger Things, half some nasty creature from an alien movie. And they came in and they started taking over the galaxy and killing Jedi, and they killed Chewbacca. That was like, oh, these guys are serious. They dropped the whole moon on him. So they took over and over and over, and then the Jedi fought back, and it looked like Anakin Skywalker was going to be the next great thing. This is the son of Han Solo. Now, again, this is all non-canon anymore because Han Solo's son has killed him or whatever. Anyhow, I'm spoiling stuff all over the place today. But again, if you're not a Star Wars fan, you don't care. And if you are a Star Wars fan, you've already watched this stuff. But in the books, it had kind of an exciting ending. But man, there was book after book after book where these, I forget what they're called, the Yuvaz Wong or whatever, they just kept winning and winning and killing, and there was stupidity, and they did this big arc about Anakin and then just killed him for no reason. And finally, Jason and Jaina came out on top. I just got so weary reading it. I didn't mind the huge arc. That's kind of a cool thing, but I just didn't find it to be interesting. I don't find being captured and almost tortured, which Jason had happen for a while, is interesting. And I don't know, it didn't feel very Star Wars-ishy. It didn't feel fun. None of it felt really fun, I guess. Star Wars, I mean, and the bad guy needs to be the bad guy, but there also needs to be some fun and, like snappy wit back and forth. I don't know, I didn't like that whole series. I think I remember hearing in the past you greeted people at the door for Dice Tower Con when it opened. I try to do that. It depends. I'll greet you somewhere. I might be at the registration. This year's going to be a little bit different because I have to make sure registration's running. We have a hot games area and a library. So I'll be around and, helping people learn games. I'll be there. If you don't see me, it's because you're not looking. What famous painting would you have on your wall? None. If I had a famous painting, I'd sell it. They're very valuable. I would just get a non-famous painting and put it up. I like cool art every year at Gen Con. There's all kinds of paintings there. I like that art as much as, if not better, than most quote-unquote famous paintings. But if I did have one and I couldn't sell it, I would pick that pointillism picture that is in Ferris Bueller's Day Off of the people next to the river. I don't remember what the name of that picture is. But I like that painting. I don't know why. I just like it. Is that Tom's daughter that asked that question? Yes. Did he even notice? Yes. I do see the names of people who ask the questions. Did Melody just have to use the Q&A to talk to her? Melody and I talked last night. About to start a Vagrant Song campaign. Heard the story wasn't the strongest. I like the story in Vagrant Song. I don't know when I'll be in Canada next. Sorry. Why do you wear suspenders? Why not? I like them. They hold your pants up better than a belt does. And they don't squeeze your waist. What's my favorite segment to do on a Dice Tower? Top 10s. I like top 10s a lot. I like Q&As, but I like top 10s better. I wasn't planning. He's like, don't stop the Q&As. I wasn't planning on stopping them. I just said I wasn't doing one next week. Someone else is doing it. That's all. Let's see here. More than half of our friendly local game stores also sell comics. Is it like that in Florida too? Uh, some of them do. I guess that seems right. Like every other local game store also sells comics, but why wouldn't you? I mean, if a local game store sells comics and games, it makes sense. Have you ever done a top 10 overproduced games where art and components, while being pretty, made a game worse or harder to be played? No, I don't know if I would do that. I might, but I don't normally do lists like that. Are we going to do the top 10 pop culture thing? Yeah, we will do that sometimes. That might be a fun thing to do on a Friday sometime. When are you coming to Seattle? I really would like to get up to Seattle. I just haven't been there, but someday I'll come up. A Sunday Afternoon on the Island of La Grande Jatte by George Seurat. Or I don't know. I probably mispronounced 3 of those words, but that, yes, I like that painting. I've always wanted to go to that time period. I've always wanted to, like, I would love to walk around on a Sunday afternoon or, during the World's Fair in 1876 and things like that. I just think that would be neat. I think it would be a surprising thing. Like I think you'd land there. I mean, there would be 2 things to worry about. One, catching some sort of disease that's died out. But let's say I'm inoculated against all that stuff. But 2, I'd be like, can I come back to the future to go to the bathrooms? That would be my biggest concern. Because I also think it would stink more back then, just in general, because of hygiene and stuff. But man, I'd just love to see all that. I'd love to walk down those streets and everything. What's my favorite Magic the Gathering card? I don't think I have one, actually. Yeah, sorry. How's the new studio coming along? So bored. We're just waiting. We're waiting. The permit's been done. They're building the shed. We're supposed to get the shed at the end of June. So that's the next step. We're just waiting for it to come. Let's see here. Do you ever get the chance to go to other conventions other than board gaming? Not often, but sometimes I do. Sometimes I go to a geek convention, but they're really expensive. I have a hard time paying that much money when it's just a day. I'm going to go in and shop for a day. They're often pretty pricey. I would go to pretty much any convention if I had an opportunity for an inexpensive price. What is one of your top places to grab a bite to eat? Chipotle, maybe? Just a bite? Something really quick? Subway? Well, not Subway. I guess I would go to Jimmy John's over Subway, but something like that. Do you or other Dice Tower crew ever get recognized when you go to the local game stores while traveling? Occasionally, but hey, you never know. I was in our local game store last Tuesday, and someone was talking and they're gaming, and so I was in the conversation, and they said something about going to Dice Tower East, maybe, and I said, "Oh, are you going to go to Dice Tower East?" They said, "Maybe," and they said, "Are you going?" And I said, "Yeah, I have to go. I'm running it." They're like, "Oh, I didn't know that." They had no idea who I was, which is fine, but I'm always amused about that. Which equipment is a must-have if you want to produce board games? I have no idea. You need a cutter. You probably need a lot of major production devices. What's your most prized possession and why? You mean if I mean, there's valuable stuff like computers and things like that, but I mean, prized possessions? I have some challenge coins that people give me over the year. I really like that. I have some cards from some of my kids that I've kept. It's probably a cardboard box that I have at my house that has stuff from Jack. That's the thing I would grab, I think, if there was a fire. Well, that and all the physical pictures. We have a box of those. Most pictures are online. I need to get them all online, so I don't need to worry about that stuff anymore. But that box, it has cards that people sent for Jack and his blanket and pillow. Probably that. Have you seen Severance? Yes, I enjoyed it a lot. Do you service out the lawn care? It is one of the few OD. I don't know what that means, but yeah, we someone comes in and cuts the grass. It's not particularly egregious to do that here in Florida because people they just come in like a whole team comes in and they do riding mowers and the lawn the edge trimmers and the weed whackers and just like vroom. It's like 30 minutes to an hour and they're done. They come in, boom, they're gone. Are there any plans yet concerning the top 100 next year? Easy answer to that, no. We just did one. I'll worry about that later. Blake says Subway and then makes 2 throwing up icons. Oh, that's sad. I'm sorry, Blake. Did they give you food poisoning? Or are you just being like a snobby person who like thinks Subway's terrible? Because I think Subway's fine. I mean, I don't. Yes, I can make my own sandwich, probably better. And Jimmy John's is better, and a local sub place is better. But you know what? If I'm in a town and there's Subway, McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, etc., I'm probably gonna pick Subway. Angel said, I just had Jimmy John's for lunch today. Oh man, now I want Jimmy John's. If you make it to San Francisco, there's a store downtown that was basically designed just for you. Cable car clothiers. It reminds you. So this is clothes for people who are so big they look like a cable car? Because if so, that seems rude. But I'm going to look this up. Cable car clothiers. Okay, I like their socks. Very brightly colored socks. Clothing. They sell dress shirts, denim, outerwear shirts, sleepwear, sports coats, suits, sweaters, trousers, underwear, and waistcoats. Who calls them waistcoats in America? Footwear. Ooh, they have hats. They have fedoras. Okay, I'm in. There's an apothecary there with fragrance. Ooh. You can buy an ascot, a belt, bow ties, braces. Really? Let me look. Interesting. Interesting. I like this. This is intriguing to me. Brace clips. Oh, I didn't know you could. Interesting. Okay, I'm getting off topic here. I would like indeed to go to this store. Good call, Brett. What do you order if when you go to Starbucks? A large hot chocolate double caramel shot. I believe that is the same thing I ordered the last 20 times I went to Starbucks, which is over the last 6 years. I don't go to Starbucks very often. I don't drink a lot of coffee, so I save myself a lot of money by not going to Starbucks. Do you foresee more and more board games getting made in the U.S. instead of overseas due to recent shipping issues? I do not foresee that, actually. I just think we're going to see a calming down of these mega gigantic Kickstarters. Is one of the Dice Tower crew the prankster of the group? Yes. The original Sunday afternoon on the island of La Grande Jatte is in the Art Institute of Chicago. Preliminary drawings are at the Louvre. Ah, okay. You know, it is funny. Every time I go to an art museum, if I'm ever at one, I'll be like, ooh, I wonder what famous painting I'll see here. And I never see any painting I recognize. All the famous paintings in the world must be somewhere, but they're never at one I've gone to. Dice Tower Theme Park will be reviewed this week. How's the replay value on Dark Tower? We played it this weekend and loved it. Oh, I just played it again and really enjoyed it. It's weird asking about a replay on a game that lets you pick all 3 of the monsters and the bad guy and the scenario and your heroes. There's so many combos there. Blake said, yes, Subway did give me food poisoning, actually. Oh, well, then your vomiting emotions make sense. Subway sucks, says Zatan. I could make one at home. I hate to ruin this for you, Zod, but you can make like 80% of the food that you get at restaurants at home. I mean, you can make everything you get at Taco Bell at home. Every fast food restaurant, all that stuff you can make at home. In fact, a fancy steak restaurant, you can make that stuff at home too. So there is that. You save yourself some money when you do that. The Dice Tower now sponsored by Jimmy John's. No, but if you are from Jimmy John's and you're watching, we will take your sponsorship. But also we'll take Subway sponsorship too, because apparently Subway sponsors anything. I've seen Happy Gilmore, Community. Kevin says, I love Jimmy John's, but all the meat slides right off the bun on the first bite. Well, then squeeze it harder. Now everyone's telling me what they have for lunch. I left my lunch at home. Aside from board games, what will be your next favorite hobby? This is going to be a big surprise, but I think it might be food. Do you know how hard it is to sometimes find the perfect wording to a question so not to get a sarcastic answer? And do you give sarcastic answers to avoid a question or just when you see an opportunity? All right, well, now I'm like scrolling back up here to see which of your questions I gave a sarcastic answer to. You asked about more than half our family local games also sell comics. Well, I didn't give a sarcastic answer to that, did I? Anyway, yeah, sometimes. But sometimes questions are often asked in bad faith. That's why I tend to do that sort of thing. Who would you consider to be your board game nemesis? Bob from Time Stories. He's my board game nemesis. Thank you, Rich. It's a nice thing to say. Let's see here. Old Sloppy says, I'm sorry, that's just a funny name. Just listen to your excellent 5 games for Doomsday interview. Was curious why you don't have a single Knizia game in your top 100, yet would bring Lost Cities as one of the 5 games during the apocalypse. Because I love my wife more than I love my top 100 games. But yeah, I like a lot of stuff that Reiner Knizia does. It just didn't hit my top 100. He has a few games that almost hit my top 100, so there's that. Do you prefer traveling by train or flying? Well, train for sure. But I mean, it's just so impossible in most of America to take a train anywhere. I love riding by train. It's much more comfortable. You get to see the scenery, have good conversations with people, little people with carts, go up and down the aisle with food. I like everything about a train. The biggest problem with the train is it takes a while. But even then, I might still take a train. Like, when we go to Gen Con, if I knew there was a train that went from Miami to Indianapolis, I would consider taking it, because that would be great. It'd be fun. I didn't know food was considered a hobby, says Blake. What? It's definitely a hobby. If you go traveling, would you rather go to a nice restaurant and look for food stalls? Oh, yeah, both. I'm happy with both. Old Slimy. Wait a minute. How are you? Okay. Expect my first in July. Any advice to help share the love of gaming with a new little one over the next decade? I'll say the same thing. Don't worry about it. Raise a good kid. Don't worry about games. They may or might not like games. Who cares? Raise a good kid. Don't worry about raising a gamer. Find gamers. Don't raise them. What's the next guest on Table Talk? I assume you mean at the table with Tom and Eric. That'd be Dan King, I believe. That's coming next Monday. What is more of a challenge each year for Dice Tower, live events or the Kickstarter? Oh, the Kickstarter is more of a challenge than live events are. I mean, they're both a lot of work. If you had to give up either shrimp or key lime pie, which would it be? Key lime pie. Not even a question there. I love desserts, but I would give up any dessert before I gave up normal food. I love regular food. And if you don't have room for dessert, so be it. But but you can't give up shrimp. Well, I can't see this whole thing here, Driftwood, but thank you for the super sticker that says, and this is like, I like how I chose the description here. Shiba Dog saying, good job, while raising his thumb up. Thanks. Tom, do you like cars? Yes, in the fact that I like using them to get from point A to point B. No, in the fact that I never would want to work on a car in my life, and I don't really know the difference between a Toyota and a Ford or any fancy cars. I know what a punch buggy looks like. I don't even know what kind of car I drive. It's a black car. Has space in the back. Roy, do you know what kind of car I have?
No.
Yeah, I don't know what kind of car I have. It's a black car.
It's an SUV.
Yeah, it's an SUV. But I don't know anything else than that. And I don't care that I don't know that answer. It'd probably be good if it got stolen. I could tell the police officer what it was. He'd be like, your car was stolen. What was it? I'd be like, it was a black car. What else can you tell me? There's a lot of stickers on the back. One that says, I love LV, which you might think stands for Las Vegas, but actually stands for Laura Vasel. Which, by the way, is a great thing about Las Vegas. They sell a lot of hobby things that allow me to tell people how much I like my wife. Let's see here. Favorite classic Universal monster movie? It's been a long time since I've seen any of them, so I don't have an answer here. I don't remember. Who's your board game rival? Meaning someone challenging who you always try to beat. I think probably the third boss in Gloomhaven is hard to beat. They're really many of the boss in Gloomhaven. I'll just say a tie. Each boss in Gloomhaven I find to be a challenging opponent and hard to beat. Is there a limit to how confusing convoluted a rulebook can get before you bow out? When I get irritated and angry and pack everything back in a box. That happens like once every 4 or 5 game nights. I think it's a Honda, Tom, says the Dice Tower. All right. Cool. Thanks, Dice Tower. I'm going to forget that in a week. Do you have any plans to do a series to showcase personal collection of the A Team and Z Team? Maybe, but they don't have to. It's their own collection, so they wouldn't have to show it off. Sean says, let's all figure out Tom's car is and solve the mystery. Well, it was already solved, so there you go. Have you ever owned a little bus to drive your whole family around? Well, I do remember that. I owned a Ford Ecoline 350 12-passenger van. That I know because we needed that. We no longer need it. Once Melody went to college, we were like, yes, now we're down to only 8 people. We can fit in a lot more vehicles. So, but I do miss having that van around to take so much stuff with me. How many times have you thrown a game? Says Blake. Well, I mean, I have infamously thrown a game off a roof. I've thrown a game across a room several times, but I don't know. 100 times maybe I've thrown a game. What was my favorite school subject? Math. Algebra specifically. What kind of business do you think your wife would want to run? I feel pretty confident she would not want to run a business. That's not what she wants to do. Let's see here. My favorite Marvel movie from the new phase after Endgame? Oh, easily. Spider-Man. No Way Home. Easily. Danny says, I hope Tom's car gets stolen this week so he can tell the cop it's a Honda. After this week, he'll have no idea. Well, yeah, I think I would look it up, actually, if that came to get. I'd call my wife and be like, what kind of car do I have? Also, tell me my license plate number. I used to have my license plate number memorized for the van because it was TPK was in it, which stands for Total Party Kill. That's when a role-playing dungeon master kills everyone in the party. They call that TPK. That's how I remember that. It feels like you've been in that studio for eons now. In the beginning, it felt strange with the new background. Now it feels odd when I watch an older review. Well, same for us, right? It's always odd for us to go back and look at that stuff. We're like, oh, it's been so long. It hasn't been that long. It's been only a little bit more than a year that we've been here. I don't wish for cars, Tom, to be stolen. Well, thank you. I also wish for it to not be stolen. Let's see here. You still look like the world famous tester James Bach. I don't know who that is. James Bach. Would you ever try to make another board game? Maybe. Or maybe write a comic book? No. Or write a novel? Probably not. I wrote a short story once, but that's it. And it was never published. Matte versus standard versus no sleeves. I love matte. I really like matte cards a lot. I don't really care. Oh, you're talking about matte sleeves. Sorry. Well, whatever. I like no sleeves. I think you can shuffle easier with no sleeves. And I know every time I say that, people are like, no, sleeving makes it actually easier to shuffle. No, you just have learned to shuffle sleeved cards. That's all there is to it. Yes, I know once you know how to shuffle sleeve cards, you can shuffle them pretty well. But that's a learned process. And I never see a magician shuffling sleeve cards. You know, they're not like, look at this. Pick a card, any card. There's something about feeling a deck of cards. I don't want to give that up. Sleeving cards, I do it for some games because you have to. But I don't like the feel of sleeve cards at all. Let's see here. How is the highest board game tower that you've ever built? A stack of board games? I definitely have made one over my head. But after that, I get nervous because I don't want to crush the one on the bottom. Do you have any bad neighbors? I don't think so. Most of my neighbors seem pretty fine. Do you do crossword puzzles at all? No, I never really liked crossword puzzles because crossword puzzles require you to have some information that you might not know. You know, they'll go the first name of some actor, and I'm like, I don't know who that is, and you know, I guess you could look it up or whatever, but I don't find that sort of. I don't find cryptic clue. I don't know. There's just something about a crossword puzzle that does not sit well with me. I like logic puzzles. I like all sorts of logic puzzles. I'm on board with them. I like mazes, but crossword puzzles specifically, I find to be not that interesting. But that's just me. If someone cheats in a game you're playing, what's the consequence for them? Like if you catch someone cheating and like knowingly cheating, I don't know if that's ever happened in an adult game that I play where I caught someone cheating on purpose. I mean, obviously, accident is an accident. What do you think will be the next number one game on the Board Game Geek Top 100? Frosthaven. So where do you get tea at 5 a.m. on the cruise? Is the Windjammer open then? It might open at 6. I'm not sure. Actually, wait a minute. What am I saying? I'm not sure. I know it's open at 6. There's always something open somewhere. I don't know if you can get tea at 5 a.m. though. Let's see. Do you have a time of day you prefer gaming, provided you have one entire free day? Oh yeah, 9 a.m. Or I'm sorry, 6 a.m. Then 7 a.m. Then 8. Then 9. Then 10. Then 11. Then 12. 1, 2, 3. I'm getting tired. 4, 5, 6, 7. A little more tired. 8, 9. I'm done gaming. Saad says, I do not like Sudoku. I like Sudoku better than crossword puzzles. Have you ever had a Publix sub? Oh, yeah, Publix makes great subs. What's the scariest monster you've ever seen in any media? The scariest monster. Well, that girl in the ring was really scary. I think that's what I would pick. So, okay. Well, anyway, that's a kind of a weird question to end on. So let's see here. Chase says, if you're not cheating, you're not trying. Well, then don't try, because you shouldn't cheat. What's the highest dice tower that you've ever built? We have a giant dice tower that we usually bring to Gen Con. Alrighty, folks. Well, that's it for today. Thanks so much for watching. Another Q&A. I'll be back doing this again in the future. This is the last live thing today. We'll be back tomorrow with Shoots and Marbles in the afternoon. But there's lots of videos going up during this whole time period. So we have many of them. Until then, I'll see y'all later. Bye. All right, let me get it plugged in first. I turned off my sound.
Do you want me to move it, or you want to move it?
No, you can go ahead and move it. I just wanted to.
Do you want it to already be going before we put them in? Or you want me to put it?
Yeah, the problem is I want to see people's comments on it. I'm gonna have to wait till you move it first. I think you want to zoom in more. You want it to fill up almost the whole screen. Looks like when there's more than 3, they knock each other out.
What are people saying?
Oh, that is only 2. People are saying it's cool.
They have no idea how uncool we can be.
It is cool. It's just really noisy. That noise bothers me more than anything else.
Oh, for sure. That's what I meant. The thing is cool. The noise is terrible. It needs to be in a gigantic glass box, soundproof box, so you can look at it but not hear it. How many viewers do we have still?
You know what? I'm actually, I know this is annoying to you, but I'm actually going to let it run for a while.
Okay.
Like for like a good 5 minutes at least.
Okay.
And then when I leave the room, that's the annoying.
I'm not Z where I get that annoyed about it.